Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever for a fantastic 5v5 played on a map tailored for this game and this game only. It is none other than the Neuroxis map generator. And let's go ahead and get into player introductions with Team 1 in the north and Team 2 in the south. But before we do, I'd like to direct your attention to the buttons down below. Please hit that subscribe button, please hit that like button, and please consider leaving me a comment telling me what your favorite experimental is and why. I'll read all of them and I'll try and reply as we move on to our first player, a neon green Aeon, best faction and good choices all around with the color. We have ourselves a first land star out from none other than Crozier Meta. And up to the north, we have his brother in arms, his best friend, a dark green UEF going first land by the name of Crozier EXE. Yes, out to the east, we have the Crozier brothers here, and you're gonna have a lot of opportunities to make fun of me for saying Crozier and then not saying the other half of their name and getting confused. As we move on from the brethren over there, we have ourselves a purple Aeon, another good choice coming out from this northern team, going first land by the name of Lalo. And then up to the north of him, we have a dark yellow / brown Cybran, very ugly color, but a decent faction, going for a power generator right now, and his name is Toninus. And moving on from that relatively bad introduction, we're going to move right into another one with a dark blue UEF going first land, and his name is Scotto Nose, or it could be Scott Two Nose, but that seems a little bit obtuse, so we're going to ignore that one. As we move on down to the south with the enemy team, we have ourselves a Cyan UEF, very, very good color choice out of this Star Wars enthusiast. His name is, of course, Darth Sand, and he is here to sand his enemies down to a fine paste. As we have ourselves going down to the pink Cybran, and I know how to word good, you don't, me very great. As we look at a first air start, he's trying to get his head in the clouds. He wants to think big, but unfortunately for him, his mind is in the gutter, because his name is Hank the Wank Tank. Then up to the northeast of him, we have another Star Wars enthusiast. He is a pink Cybran. Two pink Cybrans in a row. That's going to be confusing as well. We just got a lot of confusion going on, but his name is Wookiee Guy, and he has a first land factory. Then moving on to the south of him, we have a maroon Cybran who has a name that is oh so fitting for this first land start. It is none other than Cybran JX. And last but not least for the entire game, we have a red UEF going first to land, and he is very beefy boy, as his name is Zach Reindeer, and he does a little bit of a pirouette next to his mass extractor. Oh, look at that beautiful pathfinding. Oh yes, you never see pathfinding like this in any other game. As we take a zoom out, we speed up the game, and we look at what this map has in store for us. It's a lot going on in a short, small area, and it is 9.4 thousand reclaim for these players to get naturally, but of course there will be more as they kill each other off. And of course, we have to talk about the terrain. It's very interesting. So we have these two choke points and plateau here in the middle. I'm guessing we're going to see Wookiee Guy and Lalo get some transports, get into that middle island. Maybe we have a prolonged land battle, or maybe one wins it and starts doing TMLs and T2 artillery. That could be some nasty play coming out from either side. Then we have the two areas of contention on this map, the southeastern side down here and the northwestern side up here. This is where we're expecting to see the big battles. This is where we're expecting to see these players beat each other over the heads like they have cudgels and nothing but spare time to use them. And of course, we see up here to the north, Darth Sand being the first player to move out of his base, and he is going to be taking up a relatively aggressive position with that commander. He's going to get there relatively late compared to Scotto Nose, who went out very, very early himself, but not quite as early, as Darth Sand really wants to get on the aggressive. He wants to get forward and start dealing some damage as soon as possible. Meanwhile, over here to the southeast, we have ourselves some mech marines coming out from Zach Randier, and he is planning a little bit of an attack as we watch this little Snoop motorcycle move forward. Wow, I never realized, but the animation on the Snoop motorcycle is literally just a shadow. That is, that's quite funny to me. It's literally just a shadow. But we do have these early harassing units coming out from both sides. And of course, we're gonna see them beat each other over the head with units throughout this game. But first blood may come in the form of this engineer, or maybe it will be some kind of air engagement between these players. Despite the first air factory, no air units out yet for Hank the Wank Tank until he gets himself a beautiful Cybern transport there, and we're going to go ahead and just get a nice tracking shot. I think I know where this is going, but hey, I've been wrong before. And the Cybern transport out there, I believe it's called a Sky Hook. Yes, it is coming out to party, and he's going to try and get control of that middle plateau before anybody else. Also, we have Zach Randier over here on the minimap with a T1 bomber. Did manage to kill off that engineer over there with those mech marines as we're casting from the minimap here. Bomber gonna come out, gonna pick up a kill onto an engineer. Are there any interceptors in the area? The answer is no, so that bomber is gonna have free range. And over here in the middle, we're gonna see this transport successfully land, and Southern team really getting out, being aggressive, getting things done faster than Northern team. Lalo already getting a transport out as well as Wookiee guys, so a lot of transports very early on. You love to see it. This bomber up on 2 kills, gonna pick up a third onto another engineer of Crozier Meta, and Crozier Meta is going to be in a meta time right now, going to have a lot of struggles as in comes the bomber, and there's so many juicy targets here, so many power generators in just such a small area, and in comes the bomb. Doesn't manage to kill off any engineers, but that T2, that T1 mech's going T2 could be under threat here, especially if he bombs it again. Come on, come back in, bomb it again. Don't go for an engineer, just hit those power generators. You'll kill off a mech that's almost going T2 with the explosion damage, but he doesn't decide to, going for the engineers. It's still not a bad run out of this bomber, but the things that could have been are no longer, as in comes another bomb, gonna get another engineer. You would have loved to see those 2 power generators go down before the mechs hit T2, but unfortunately it's just not in the cards as a couple more bombs come out. 10 kills onto that bomber, and it's lived a very successful life. We don't see any other real harassment coming out, but now Crozier, you can see it, he may have gotten that T2 mechs, but he's just going to be put quite a little bit behind there. He's going to have trouble expanding, and that's going to open up Wookiee guy, who I thought was going to go for the middle, but just didn't, to send all of his engineers and everything down here with that transport. He's going to be able to help fight off Crozier Meta. I thought this area was for sure going to just be cliff built by Zach Randier, but instead Wookiee guy going for it, and now Wookiee guy also going to send that transport yet again out to the middle of the map. He's going to try and get on this plateau alongside his ally, Hank the Wank Tank. I really like saying it, but I have a feeling I'm going to get demonetized for it. I don't know. I mean, they're really cracking down on profanity, but I don't know if wank is that profane. I don't, answer in the comment. Is wank a curse word? Is wank swearing? If it is, I've already been demonetized, but that's okay, as up here to the north, we have T2 on the way for Scotto Knows. And that's going to be kind of indicative of how this northern side is going to go. T2 also on the way for Darth Sand. Darth Sand has managed to take this aggressive position and hold on to this area over here. Overall, economy is looking very good for Hank the Wank Tank, for Darth Sand, for Crozier EXE, Zach Randier. The southern team overall nearing a 50 mass total generation advantage, which is going to be big for their team. So the southern team doing a little bit better on expanding, on getting extra mechs upgraded. The northern team just that little bit slower, and being slower by 1% adds up even over 7 minutes to where you're just very far behind. You gotta keep up. Most people think of FAF as a strategy battling game, but no, it's very common with a lot of RTS. They're actually racing games, in case you didn't realize this. It's all about who can get there faster, who can get to 100 mass a second faster, who can get an experimental faster. It's all just a racing game, and right now the Southern team is doing a lot better at taking those corners. Up to the east, we have sensors on the way for Crozier Meta. Not a very meta upgrade coming out of the man, but I do indeed love me to see some sensors. It's an upgrade I adore on the Aeon Commander. And we have a little bit of fighting happening here in the middle. We have Mantis shooting rocks and Fervor's killing Mantis, just to show you how that Cybran targeting very, very fragile. But the Aeon know the way. Let the way guide those Fervor shells, and a few Mantis going to go down. But air control is going to be firmly seated over to the Southern team, with a little bit of an air fight coming out between Wookiee Guy, and I think that may have been Lalo, but it could have also been Crozier EXE or Meta. As up here to the north, damage, speed, and damage and range coming out for UEF. Damage, speed, and range would be ridiculous. And he has T2 done, stops the upgrade to help him build T1 PD, gonna just build them in a line. That's a little bit dangerous since there are a couple of Lobos in the mix, but it is gonna be enough to push back the likes of Scott O knows, and Scott O knows he's not gonna build Triads. Very interesting choice. He believes he has enough land units to just keep Darth Sand from pushing forward, and I think he's right. Instead, gonna immediately go for this T2 artillery, but that's really gonna hurt his economy at home. He's stalling really hard. He has some T2 mexes, but getting more is gonna be very, very slow as long as he's building T2 artillery. Hopefully he stops at 1, but this 1 T2 artillery can gain him a lot of territory if he plays his cards right, as Triads start to go up for Darth Sand, using those T1 PD as a bit of a buffer. But unfortunately for him, the second that artillery's done, this position is now untenable unless he throws up a shield, throws up his own artillery, and starts fighting back. Meanwhile, on the southern side, we're starting to see a little bit of units engaging with each other out between Cybran JX and Meta, who are just fighting it off. And yes, I'm just going to call them Meta and EXE now. You're welcome. The Crozier brothers. You got to identify them somehow. And that artillery strike comes in, killing off a couple of T2 or T1 PD immediately. 230 mass killed. That's only going to tick up as long as Darth Sand can no longer build himself up more defenses here. He's most likely going to be forced back by this. And meanwhile, over here to the middle of the map, we have a few units now coming out from Lalo. It's very deceptive, though. Most of these, of course, being those T1 scouts out from the Aeon. The Spirit doesn't have that much DPS. In fact, you can see them struggling to kill a T1 engineer here. The Flares doing the heavy lifting there. And now Darth Sand finding himself being attacked by 2 players. How's he going to respond? And we also have an artillery drop now coming out from Hank the Wank Tank, and he's gonna be getting some dirty, dirty damage down on to Scotto Nose. That's gonna be... Oh no, he didn't kill off the T2 mechs. Kill it off, kill it off, kill it off. You are so close. He launches a few more shells. Do they reach their intended target? Oh no, they don't. 200 HP. Overall, a very, very fortunate turn of events for Scotto. Only losing that 1 mex is kind of a good thing there. I mean, you never want to lose mexes, but only losing 1 in that situation is pretty good. As the Corsairs out from Toninas show up to help him out. Large land force now out for Crozier Meta, but needs to be careful. Is rocking the Aeon, so does have a bit of a fragile force. Gonna split it up. Gonna try and deal with this attack out from Wookiee Guy with just a few units and some reinforcements, and use the other ones to keep pushing forward. But I think he needs to fall back here soon, as Cybran JX has made his way out to the east, and they are fighting and fighting well. And Darth Sand, trying to push on multiple fronts now, has built up his production base. 5 T1 factories. I mean, there is a 6 factory, but it's T2. Over here in the front, can definitely get a nice production base going on, but needs to make sure he's ecoing well. Speaking of ecos, Hank the Wank Tank out ahead at 87. Darth Sand right behind him at 80. 72 for Crozier EXE. Crozier Meta at 55. 49 for Toninas, and everybody else below 50, so we're not going to talk about them. Economies going about up to snuff. Team 2 very far ahead. A 50 mass generation advantage. As I was talking about earlier, it's all about being a racing game. It's all about who can hit those breakpoints faster, and right now the Southern team is doing better. They have so much map control right now. They're just in a very good position. The Northern team needs to start getting aggressive, start breaking out, start dealing damage down onto the Southern team. Otherwise, this is going to be a very, very quick game. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a little look at this engagement that's brewing. Aeon sniper tanks here in the early game, getting a lot of value. But the units out from Cyber and JX doing very well for themselves. And make sure to hydrate. I'm going to take a big swig right now. So good. So very good. As we are enjoying ourselves today. Some engineer sent up over here for Hank the Wank Tank. Guess he wants to get some reclaim, as he's even sent a T2 engineer over here on this side. 800, 700, 175, lots of reclaim coming out for these engineers of Darth Sand. He's going to be very happy with that. Overall reclaim numbers, Hank the Wank Tank and Darth Sand leading the charts. They're just kind of leading the charts everywhere, so they're the players to keep the eye on right now. But Crozier Meta and Crozier EXE are right behind them, as a few units out from Wookiee Guy look like they managed to get all the way around here to the back, and Wookiee Guy gonna take an air fight. Needs to be careful. These Corsairs are pretty competent at fighting in the sky, but is gonna clean up the interceptors. Unfortunately for him, though, I think the Corsair is gonna clean him out, and that is gonna be a very unfortunate situation. These Corsairs also just sitting around are a very scary proposition for the Southern team. Really quick, want to point out that this is a full share game, so snipes will just be handed off to higher rated players. And we have a T3 strategic bomber already out for Crozier EXE. Hasn't managed to get any significant damage. No, it hasn't even dropped a bomb yet. And T3 air has been finished up for his opponent, Hank the Wank Tank, but it doesn't seem to be getting very much done, as the first bomb being very delayed in coming out. Is there an ASF out onto the field just yet? Nope, there's just some interceptors kicking around. He doesn't have his T3 power done yet. Might just need to sacrifice T3 power build time. But no, he built a SAM. He built two very early on, and now there's just 1,500 reclaim right here for his pickings. It landed right next to engineers. Couldn't get more convenient. And that bomber out from EXE could have gone anywhere else on the map and gotten substantial damage, but deciding to go for the enemy air player, he took the calculated risk, and it just wasn't worth it. As over here to the east, we have Titans now coming out of the base of Crozier Meta. He's switched away from the Aeon. What a horrible choice. This is blasphemy. He's gotten a UEF engineer, I'm guessing from Crozier, and now he's just building a bunch of Titans. They're very good units, but they're not the units you want here. You want the Aeon, you want the Harbingers, you want the sniper bots. It's the better choice all around, and shame on him for grabbing that UEF tech. As over here to the east, Cybern units out from both Cybern JX and Wookiee Guy cleaning up the last of the T1 forces out for Meta, but Meta doesn't care. He's building so many Titans, he'll be able to reinforce these fronts very soon and maybe start gaining territory. T3 land is now on the way for Zakrandir. T2 and T2 production already set up now for Cybern JX. T2 production really coming online for Darth Sand right now, as he starts to build his own fire base. Over here to the north, 2 Clink Hammers have been built, 12 kills and 1 kill respectively. We will keep an eye on that. And here in the middle, we have a Gunther that's completed very recently, and it's really going to threaten Lalo, and Lalo just doesn't have any shielding. Oh no, it's a disaster. Lalo going to lose so much from so little. He's been struggling this game, but it's only going to get worse with time now, as I believe that Gunther should just have range to hit. Oh, it doesn't actually hit that far. Never mind. I forgot it's a 15 by 15 kilometer. It's very big. Doesn't feel so big when you're zoomed out, does it? Titans now coming in. Gonna try and get some damage done, but there's really not that much of value down here anyways, so I'm not sure what he's gonna get out of that. But up here to the north, we have a huge fight taking place between some Titans and some Mantis. And those Titans, they've picked off quite a few kills. They're creating a nice little reclaim field, and every time Cybern JX and Wookiee Guy push forward over here, it's just going to be the same story. They're just going to create a little reclaim field, and then they're going to be able to, they're going to have to fall back because the Titans are just too strong, and this reclaim field is going to get bigger and bigger. It needs to start getting engineers out to that front. But over here to the west, we have a large UEF on UEF battle to take a look at these units firing shots back and forth, missiles flying through the air, Corsairs getting involved because they feel like it, and Mongoose using their little Gatling guns, and right now it's looking like Scotto doesn't know how strong the force of Darth Sand is. And we're starting to see those ASF clouds form up. Hank currently sitting on 5 ASF. Meanwhile, Crozer, who got in a little bit earlier, up to 9, so almost 2-to-1 advantage. Not enough ASF to really have a big air fight yet. But over to the west, now some units out from Toninas take their turn at just dying to the death ball that's been built up by Darth Sand. And he may have enough forces to just push up here. I don't know, the mobile shielding and these engineers out here building up units very quickly are going to be important. Also, one thing I'd like to point out, Crozier using those Sparkies, those combat engineers, those field engineers. Very nice to see that. And the Titans over here have cleaned up this. It really wasn't that valuable. That's why we didn't really look at it. And the T2 artillery going to come in, kill off quite a few units there. That's painful. Needs to make sure he's not just idling his army in T2 artillery range, because those artillery will rack up value. One already almost up to 1 rank of veterancy. The other one working its way up. Not really getting the killing blows, it seems. Probably the one that's firing second. And that's just going to start getting more and more painful. 1 rank of veterancy on that first Clink Hammer. Meanwhile, a large push coming out from Lalo, but it's mostly T1 units. In fact, it's all T1 units, and they're running into a line of pillars. And these pillars really just don't care about T1 units. They're not very scary. And we continue to wait. T3 finishing up for Darth Sand. Gonna immediately build Sams and Ravagers. He thinks this game's gonna go late and he wants to protect his forward production. Now have a bunch of artillery being dropped up over here to the northwest. That artillery drop earlier in this base was quite something to see, but didn't really get much done. Maybe this one up here in the northwest will get more. And all of these mechs is just clicked over to T2. Oh no! Toninas, it's a disaster. Oh, that's painful. T3 engineer out from Hank the Wank Tank. It's just living its best life. It's just moving out over here for some reason. And over here to the east, we're starting to see Percival's coming out from Zach Randier, but there's just such a huge Titan force. It's pushing in towards a fire base. The Cerberus, probably not the best thing you'd want for this situation. And the Titan's just going to push in. They're going to kill off a lot of Mantis here, and you just see those guns. Bang, 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 pew, 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 pew. And those tanks gonna go down. I mean, I guess they're not tanks, they're bots, but... what is an assault bot? It's a tank with legs, let's be honest. And up here to the north, actual tanks getting actual damage and having some support from some artillery. Gonna kill off a lot of T2 mexes and just bypass this fire base that Scotto has invested so much more into. As I believe Brink once famously said, if you build T2 artillery, I'll just go around it. Well, Darth Sand really gonna take that to heart. He's built some T2 artillery, and now Darth Sand is just gonna try and go around it. But man, does he have a lot of parashields. He's kind of lacking on the attacking unit front. I mean, not really all that much lacking, but that's a lot of support units. Very heavy support unit mix out over there for Scotto. And that fight... it's going to continue to go down, but I think Darth Sand kind of running into a brick wall here. Well, not a brick wall. He's just running into a bunch of pillars. What is a wall if not a bunch of pillars placed very closely to each other, right? Am I right? I'm right. And Darth Sand may actually be making some progress here, although I'm not sure to what ends. It feels like kind of a reclaim dump at this point. As down here on the southern side, those Titans continuing to push forward, and the forward Percival production is gonna go down. Oh, maybe not. Maybe the Titans don't have enough HP, and it doesn't look like they do. But these Titans now gonna end up being just mass for the enemy. But this entire time, there's been a ton of reclaim going on by Crozier Meta, who's up there with Hank the Wink Tank, but Hank the Wink Tank is at 23,000 reclaim, and you can see the man just has engineers everywhere. He is over 50 engineers. That's quite a bit. I mean, really close to 60, but not quite. Actually, it might be 60. I don't know. 8 plus 8 is 16. It's like 56 engineers. Hey, I did quick math. But still, that's a lot of T1 engineers, and those aren't the only ones he's reclaiming with. He's reclaiming with T2. He apparently is now reclaiming with T3. Oh, wait, no, that's building a Myrmidon. Very nice play coming out from Hank the Wink Tank. Gonna build Myrmidons. Just build them around the map. How many has he gotten out onto the map so far? He's gotten one, but he's building a second one. I mean, he reclaimed the ones in his base for some reason. As T1 bombers starting to come out from Crozier EXE. He's going to start trying to get some damage done. Percival's doing a lot better against the Titans. Not that the Titans are fighting Percivals at the moment, but Titans going down to some T2 units. Those beefier units going to kind of cause struggles for these Titans, and I'd love to see a swap out from Meta. Would love to see him switch over to Percivals and maybe get more production. But instead has gone T2 Aeon Land to provide some asylums and some ascendants to help out those Titans. And now T1 bombers out from EXE gonna help out. The brothers working very well together. And mass brick now coming out from Wookiee Guy. He's like, all right, this eastern side is having too much of a struggle. I don't need to help Darth Sand. Darth Sand's in a decent enough position on his own. I'm going to start sending a lot of bricks over to this eastern side. And also, brick production could start up very soon. And in fact, I think it has started up already for Cybern JX, who has 2 Cybern HQs. He just wants to be very assured of the fact that he won't lose his tech opportunities. I think 2 is okay. When you start getting 3 or 4, you're being a little bit frivolous. And more brick production going to start coming online for Wookiee Guy. Wookiee Guy wants to set himself up to have a large land force. I'm surprised, because in his position, I think I might have gone for air, but instead he's just going for this, trusting Hank the Wink Tank to just do good enough in air. And Hank the Wink Tank at 32 ASF versus Crozier EXE sitting at 22. So Hank is doing a good job on that front. And right now, we're seeing more Titans pushing in. They're going to get rid of this T3 HQ, but little does he know that that's not the only HQ that his opponent has. This T1 Land Factory starting to lose a lot of HP, or T3 Land Factory. Oh, is it going to go down 40 HP? Needs to get a shield over it. Where's the next bomber? It's not going to come in time, and they need to repair that factory. 40 HP. Whew! That is a close situation if ever I've seen one. And now repair order coming out. Those bombers going to have a lot more struggles to get through and deal damage now. As we take a step back, take a drink, stay hydrated, it is about time we look at the economies yet again. Crozier EXE back here in the rear guard position for Team 1 has overtaken everybody this game. And now, sitting in a very strong position. Team 2 is still very ahead on eco. They've produced so much more this game, over 100,000 more mass produced by them this game. But Crozier at 244 mass a second, 222 right now for Hank the Wink Tank. We just had, I believe, an experimental of some description finish up. It was a Monkey Lord up here for Toninus. And speaking of Toninus, sitting on 151 eco, but he's kind of halfway down the board. Darth Sand and Hank the Wink Tank still doing very good. Hank the Wink Tank over 187 for Darth Sand. And we continue along this path of destruction laid out by these teams. And now we're just waiting to see how it goes. bricks coming out from Zach Randier now. I think a lot of these bricks were probably gifted to him by Wookiee Guy. In fact, all of them. And that's a good call when you have somebody with a large land force or 2 large land forces. Just give it to one person. You get rid of a lot of pathing issues, and you solve a lot of the problems that could have. And we're sitting here. Here in the middle, we have some artillery wars going on. These Gunthers really didn't get too much done, but now the miasma trying to be used to clear this up. It's a lot of miasma coming out from Willow, and it can't even really hit the enemy Gunthers, so that's just not the greatest investment of his mass, if I'm honest. Do we have another? We have another Monkey Lord on the way. The first Monkey Lord gonna start making its way out to the west, or at least it was. Where did it go? I'm a little bit lost because I totally saw the Monkey Lord. I must be blind because I'm just not seeing it anymore. I'm sure I'll notice it before it becomes important. As over here to the east, Crozer has set himself up with shield on the commander. I don't believe it's heavy shield. No, it is not. Sensors and T2, and he's going to start making his way down here and wants to build another fire base. Where did that experimental go? There it is! There it is! I told you I'd find it before it became important. Yeah, it's making its way down to the south. And we have a large air fight happening between EXE and Hank. And Hank is gonna clean house. Very good play coming out from Hank. And Crozer Meta gonna start getting pushed back. He never, I mean, now he's switching to Percivals, but it's starting to feel like a little bit too little and maybe a little bit too late. Because these bricks going to keep pushing forward. He's going to have to get out a lot of Percivals in a short amount of time. He's sitting on a strong economy, so maybe he can make that happen, but needs to be careful. Monkey Lord continuing to push forward, but there's just no real air left now to cover it. So this could get a little bit dangerous. Do we have any experimentals for the southern team? No, not seeing one yet. So maybe this is the ace up the sleeve that Team 1 needs to overcome this mass generation differential. And the Monkey Lord pushes in. It's gonna start killing off these T2 units, but it needs to bypass this base. It cannot be you cannot walk it into that base right now. And that's not what he's doing. He's trying to walk it into the base of Hank the Wank Tank. Does have a huge pillar force behind this, but is gonna need air cover. And EXE, he's building a lot of air right now. Also, Toninas has his own air. 1940. Hank sitting on 84. So Hank should just win this. And the Monkey Lord is going to be in a very rough position. T1 bombers coming out en masse to kill off the Monkey Lord. Those Zeus really striking down this Monkey Lord right now. And that's a ton of Titans. But these Titans, I think, are a mistake. These Titans just give the Monkey Lord a chance to vet off something. Monkey Lord should probably, I guess, just completely fall back, but I don't know if you get out even if you do that, but falling back at least leaves the reclaim on your side of the field for the Monkey Lord. Does pick up that T2 mechs. Not that it's going to hurt Hank very much at all. And out of nowhere, Darth Sand has become the economic leader this game, and now has a ton of Ravagers over here unloading into these Percivals. Or not these pillars. Sorry, the P names. They really tripped me up, apparently. And the Monkey Lord finally gonna die to the Zeuses. All of the Zeuses getting like 90, 80, 80% towards, or 80 mass killed on that Monkey Lord. Darth Sand cleans up the remaining pillars. Down to the south, we have Mass Janus. Somebody play Fortunate Son, because here comes the napalm. Oh, baby. That's a lot of napalm. I don't know if it's gonna kill off too many bricks. They have a lot of HP, but does manage to get some damage done. I feel a lot of it was on shielding though. And the Titan Percival force is growing for meta. The longer this engagement takes to start off, the better it is for the northern team though. But map control is just kind of pitiful. Just look at this map. It's a very scary map if you're on Team 1. Second Monkey Lord out from Toninis. Going to be heading down to this other flank. The western side didn't work, so let's try the eastern side. I guess is the logic there. A anti-nuke built up for Toninis. Have they seen a nuke launcher? No, they haven't. But a nuke launcher is almost ready to fire out from Crozer EXE. Let's see if we can time that out properly and just find out. In fact, can I do this? Nope, that doesn't work. Darn. Let's see if we can time that out properly so we can get a nice tracking shot. If not, oh well. As the Monkey Lord makes its way down south, the fight now ensuing. That Monkey Lord about to get involved. The bricks taking some blaze shots. That Monkey Lord really going to provide DPS, a lot of it, even if it's just these cannons. They're pretty powerful. They slowly kill off one Percival at a time, but the Monkey Lord's going to get involved, and the bricks are going to go down, and this is going to be a huge, huge reclaim field. Speaking of which, Hank at 65,000 reclaim. Man is mad with reclaim. And the nuke launcher, does it already have an order? We're going to go ahead and track onto it just in case. And we'll watch this fight. Monkey Lord really seeming to turn it down there. The nuke launcher is done. It's launching. And out comes the pain. The pain train. And right now, EXE is looking to put the nail in the coffin of his opposers. And this is gonna be epic to watch. Where is it going? Seems to be going for Hank, and Hank is walking away. Never a good sign. And let's get a beautiful shot of this. And boom, baby! That's the entire air grid consumed by nuclear hellfire. Not hairfire. Out from Crozer EXE. And that's going to be a huge blow. That immediately takes the economy of Team 2 from relatively ahead to behind the economy of Team 1. And that may just be what they needed to make this work. Monkey Lord handed over to meta. Megalith now on the way. Tons of energy being thrown towards Hank. And Hank's just going to build up his power generators. If he can get up a couple of power generators, he is still sitting on... Whoa, no. He has... Okay, never mind. He doesn't have 29 mass a second. The mass is going to equalize once he gets enough power to run all these mechs he's built up. And a Monkey Lord has finished for the Southern team. This one built by Cybern JX. Novak's now on the way for Zach Randier. Wookie Guy still trying to feed enough power to get this P-Gen done for Hank. Darth Sand has built a Fat Boy. Lots going on across the map. And the ASF out from Hank, he's separating them into little groups. He doesn't want a large air engagement. He'd rather just give his opponent some bite-sized meals and keep enough ASF around the map to try and protect things. But that nuke launcher already halfway done. And there's no anti-nuke over here for Darth Sand. The two highest economy players for Team 1 or Team 2 are not doing anything well. And what? Control K out of Lalo. Stop you or you will be reported law. Dude, it wasn't even your mechs. F you. Lalo, Control K's. I guess he was reclaiming this T3 mechs. He really wanted it. I don't know why. It's not like the T3 mechs in his bases are even capped or doing anything. So now Crozier meta sitting on double base. That should help him, honestly. Lalo wasn't really doing too much this game. And now with a Fat Boy and a Monkey Lord, seems as though meta wants to push forward. What experimental, whose experimental was that? That was somebody down here. That was the Novax. Finishing up now for Zach Randier. But just start another one. I feel like if you're going to build one Novax, you may as well build 20 of them, right? You just start and you never stop building those. That's how you win games. And the shielding for the Northern team, I wouldn't call it pitiful, but it's not good enough to really deal with the Novax at the moment. Gonna need a lot more shielding very, very soon. We now have boys being produced by Crozier Meta. And those two artillery at some point got killed off, which is very sad. The artillery out from Darth Sand, he's building up quite a bit. Will be able to deal with a Fat Boy if one arises. Lots of T1 bombers out over here to the middle of the map, killing off bricks. An air engagement not really brewing, as it doesn't seem Hank is interested in that. Hank building up a power grid. He needs to get back into the air quickly, and he needs another teammate probably to join him in the air, if I'm honest. He still has a lot. And where is that nuke going? It's going for the base of Darth Sand. And Darth Sand doesn't really have power built anywhere else either, so this will be brutal. He's already starting to build power generators. If he finishes this one before the nuke lands, that'll be big. The anti-nuke here is not loaded, so this does just kind of land. And very soon we'll be looking over at that engagement on the eastern side, but I want to get this nuke for you all on screen. Just a happy, normal day in a UEF base. And then 3, 2, 1. Boom! More nuclear hellfire. And now down here to the southeast, we have a fight engaging. We have Fat Boy trying to kill off a spider. And then a spider out from meta trying to make its way into this base. That's a lot of T3 mexes. If this Monkey Lord doesn't already have a lot of vet, which it doesn't, that will be huge. Bunches of bombers coming in. A Fat Boy getting shot at by the Novax. That's very unfortunate. And this Monkey Lord needs to just be pushed in. Trade the Monkey Lord for those mexes. Actually, you may not even have to trade. You can just walk in, kill the mexes, and walk out. Fat Boy trying to get some long-range damage down, but I think it's just going to die to the Novax. Very unfortunate end for that Fat Boy. Dead. And this Monkey Lord, it's going to get every mex but the T3 mex. Oh, you have to be kidding me. Oh, that's painful. Turn it. Shoot the T3 mex. Okay, he's going to get the T3 mex. And now he's going to pick off a few of these bricks. There's more bricks coming in from Wookiee Guy to help deal with that. Already here soon. Good thing they didn't take out my gateway. Lots of chatting going on. Do we have any artillery coming out from this other team? No, we don't. So we do have an arty planned up for this team on the south. And we also have a Monkey Lord now pushing forward with a lot of bricks. I'm not sure how successful this will be. The bricks and Percivals might be enough, but the second Monkey Lord is going to come in, try and undercut some of this force, kill off a little bit of it, but it's just gonna die. It's slated for death now. Wants to keep it away from the enemy Monkey Lord as much as possible. Because the enemy Monkey Lord, you don't want it to get a bunch of veterancy off this. Keep running, keep pulling their forces apart. Give yourself time to build up something to deal with their experimentals. As a huge air fight now takes place, and it looks as though Hank is getting the better of the trade, but I think it's going to slowly go the other way. As EXE, I highly doubt. No! The turns are just better for Hank. Or maybe they're not. No, EXE! Oh, it's a nail biter. Both sides going to be left with very few, if any, ASF left. But Hank eventually stops microing. Honestly, Hank did a lot better there than I was expecting. He made it look close, even though he shouldn't. He has no right to be anywhere close to the ASF numbers of his opponent. Another nuke launch detected. This one going in for Wookiee Guy, but Wookiee Guy isn't scared. He's loaded. Unless a bunch of T1 bombers come in to deal with those anti-nukes, I don't think it'll be a problem. And over here to the northwest, we have a bit of fighting going on. We have Fat Boy from Darth Sand, as well as some Percivals. Trying to make some progress, but really not getting anywhere. Only really going to achieve getting a big reclaim field right here. Especially with this. And also getting some experience onto that Fat Boy. Getting some veterancy is always a good thing. Fat Boy's biggest weakness is how not tanky it is. If you can beef it up a little bit, not a bad thing. And now a whole bunch of T1 bombers slowly just constantly getting killed here in the middle. He's building a lot of T1 bombers. Novak sitting on 9 kills and 23,000 mass killed. Most of the mass killed was that Fat Boy from earlier. Another Novax is up and done. Another Fat Boy on the way now for Zach Randier. And the Fat Boy wars continue, but now there's some artillery up. Could be scary for that Fat Boy. Also mobile artillery, which is firing onto the Fat Boy. Fat Boy needs to get out of the range of those mobile artillery. It should outrange them or focus them down really quickly. Darth Sand needs to be careful there. GC almost finished up now for meta. Very strong choice coming out from the green player over there on that eastern front. The anti-nukes seem to be loaded. Is there a forward anti-nuke here? Yes, there is. And it is loaded. Duke on the way. An experimental just finished up somewhere. It was Zach Randier's Fat Boy. Over here to the east, Monkey Lord still thinking about moving forward, but there's a bunch of demolishers kind of warding off the attack over there on the east, which is just starting to become a huge force. So many T3 bots, now going to get a bunch of experimentals in there with the Fat Boy spam. Duke on the way. Up to 26%. On the enemy side, no real... A Duke has been started up by Scotto Knows. And Scotto Knows sitting on one of the biggest economies in the game with this mass fab farm. Which is quite interesting to see. Lowest rated player in the game at 500. Has been holding his own pretty well and is now getting into that artillery stage of the game. Playing the game of his life right now. More fighting, more Percival on Percival action, but these Clink hammers, soon to be Clink dead hammers. That was bad. Yep. How many subscribers did I just lose? And Cougars in the background. I love Cougars. They have such a funny name. And I like Gatling guns. Rate of fire, DACA, all that. And that's a megalith. Whoa, didn't want that. Another nuke launched. Where is it going? Going down the south. Is he going to try and nuke the army? It'll be interesting to see. Or maybe he's just nuking this base, which doesn't have an anti-nuke. Fighting up here. Megalith going to kill off those Percivals. And I think it's going for this base. So just really quick, we'll get a nice beauty shot here. And the units over there for Meta starting to move forward. His GC should be done by now. Don't know where it is. Two Fat Boys done for Zach Randier, a third moving forward. Now a Fat Boy on the way for Darth Sand. It's just Fat Boy Central over here on Team 2. GC is done. Starts walking forward. Another Megalith about to finish up for Toninas. Oh, I accidentally muted my mic, but a Telemazer out from Toninas kills off Wookiee guy. I got so excited I tapped my mic and it muted. That's a first. And that Telemazer killing off Wookiee guy and Toninas means that Hank and who else? Hank and EXE sitting on double base, as well as Meta. That's a huge shift in play. There's an almost done Megalith. I'm sure that'll finish up here soon. And a huge land fight over here. We missed it due to all of the chaos going on at one time. The Monkey Lord dies. The Fat Boys here are going to have struggles. That nuke landing was huge. Telly, not Mazer. Teleporter done. Yeah, I just didn't notice it in the chat. There's been so much to look at this game. Can't believe I accidentally muted my mic by flailing my hands around. Oh, in case you didn't know, my hands are always moving whenever I'm casting, especially my left hand, because I just use a mouse mostly. Yeah, just hand gestures. Ooh. I talk like an Italian. Duke has been pretty much paused up to 60%, but more Fat Boys are required apparently for Darth Sand. The Novaxes, one up to 15 kills, 40,000 mass killed, the other one up to 8 kills, almost 20, getting some good value out of the Novaxes. The double Fat Boy over here is really gonna start raining down some pain. You see all those fiery explosions. A lot of gunpowder. Darth Sand has built another Fat Boy. There is now a third Fat Boy on the way for the Darth Man himself. And a third Fat Boy has finished up for Zach Randier. And 3 is kind of that magic number as my phone gives me a notification. 3 is that magic number as we have an air fight because of a bug that I'm assuming was built out from Hank. And that bug really didn't get too much done as EXE just wipes the floor yet again with Hank's Air Force. Every time I think Hank's getting close to getting some air control, he just cannot maintain it. And now there is an artillery finished up already. Who's the first player to finish up an artillery? It is indeed Cybern JX, who finishes the first artillery, and he's sitting at one of the lowest economies. Shows you what focusing can do for all you ADHD people out there. The second artillery to finish up, obviously, going to be Darth Sand here soon. That's my money he's on. As long as he doesn't pause it for like the 5th time. And the artillery now starting to rain down up here to the north. That nuke launcher with 283,000 mass killed. Under threat, and there's no way it gets to survive, right? And a Maver queued up for Meta. He's like, screw your normal artillery. I'm going to go for the big boys. And a Duke on the way for Crozier EXE. We are truly In the end game now, buddies. People. I don't know why I call you buddies. Y'all are all my buddies. Ooh, buddies. That's what we call dogs down here. There's a bunch of dogs nicknamed Buddy. And that's the second artillery piece going online in 3, 2, 1. Online. And another one immediately started. Darth Sand going to start the Duke spam. He likes his royalty. Another artillery started off as well for Cybran JX. And an artillery up here to the north, I think, finished. Or did it? Nope, it did not. And the artillery firing away. More Novaxes going to be coming online soon. The triple Fat Boy for Zach Randier doing a lot, and as well as the double Fat Boy over here to the west, really warding off an enemy Fat Boy. Lots of obesity going on in this cast. And down goes the Fat Boy. Yet again, this keeps happening. Apparently it's some kind of effect from one of the Cybran campaign missions, but it's very strange that it happens so often with the Megalith now. I think it's the effect of the Brackman version of the Megalith does that sometimes. But very interesting to see. Lots of Strat Bombers out over here for Hank the Wank Tank. The SCU going down here on the Eastern Front. And the ASF count, is Crozier finally going to be behind? He's up to 160, 170, maybe more ASF, and 177. So very even on the ASF count. Lots of strats building up now for Hank. Artillery, second artillery already up to 32% for Darth Sand. Cybran JX sitting on... No, he's going for an upgrade. What is he going for? He's going for Teleporter. We're going to have another Telemazer this game. And now we have triple Fat Boy, and this is what Fat Boys succeed at so well. That GC, if it wants to push forward, it's going to take a spanking. Sure, some Janus come in and abuse the fact that they have very good capabilities up against the Fat Boys, and it's going to maybe take down the shield on one of them. But overall, the Fat Boys getting a lot of value. Just look at the HP on that GC, down to half HP, and it's barely even seeing anything. It's got 1,000 mass killed and 3 kills. It's just picked up some stuff with its tractor beam, and that's about it. And now a ton of Strat Bombers amassing over here in the west. Do we have the response out from EXE? No, we don't. And these Strat Bombers are going to start trying to take down Scotto Nose. But Scotto Nose is also getting telemazered at the same time by Cybran JX. And Scotto Nose is Scotto going to hell. Thanks to a nuke and a telemazer. And that Telemazer actually gets tons of value here. So the fact that Cybran JX died? Oh, Cybran JX, I thought he was gonna live. If he lived and was able to kill off a lot of these bases, a lot of this base, that would have been huge, but he wasn't able to make that happen. I think maybe he got friendly fired by his own team's artillery. Second artillery piece about to finish up now for Darth Sand. Cybran JX was working on another artillery piece, but I don't know if Hank's going to continue that effort. And lots of artillery coming down. Duke done for Crozier EXE. And these triple Fat Boys now on this front, starting to push back against the units of EXE. And Zach Randier also getting a lot of value with these Fat Boys. Some of them getting veterancy. 3 veterancy, 4 veterancy on these two that have been alive for a long time. And now they're just pushing back against the base of EXE. Huge air fight now coming out. And this is the first time I think I've seen EXE just definitively lose an air fight. He's been doing so good in the skies thus far, ever since that nuke. But now Strat bombers coming in, making themselves known. This nuke launcher, which has gotten so much done for EXE, seemingly the target. And the EXE standing in the one place in his base without shielding. Standing in between a bunch of triads. The triple fat boy down here doing well. The triple fat boy up here doing extremely well. Now gonna start firing in towards this base over here. If it can get the anti-nuke, and there's a nuke on the southern team, that could be big. And there is a nuke down there. Now Hank sitting on triple base, EXE sitting on triple base, Meta sitting on 3 bases as well. And Meta is... oh no, Meta's sitting on 3 bases and EXE sitting on 2. The fat boy is getting a lot of value now. Just watch all of those shells rain in. Watch this base capitulate. And now with 2 dukes done, a 3rd on the way. There's also a disruptor down here. But we have to look. The Maver is done! Oh, the Maver is done, boys. And it's very angry. Where is it going to fire first? This Maver is the game for the northern team. They don't really get much done without it. They've invested so much of Meta's economy, which has been huge. And it fires its first shell. Where is that shell gonna go? I think it's this one. What's the first shell gonna hit? Nope. Was that the first shell? It might have been. I don't know where the first shell went. Oh, it landed over here. It killed off the air grid immediately. Oh, that's a disaster. And now the southern team has to know about the Maver. But they can't have air advantage for too much longer. The Novax is coming in. The air grid of Crozier EXE also having struggles. That Maver's fire now coming in, gonna try and kill off this base. Or maybe just trying to kill off what's remaining of the air grid. And another experimental done. That's a fat boy. He's building mass fat boy. And the triple fat boy over here got killed off. We just missed it in all of the action. And this push out from Meta looking to be very dangerous, but can he continue? Has the GC, has the Megalith, has a lot of supporting units. But this is quite the choke point to have to push through. And that base over here, we have the Novaxes and the artillery killing off EXE. So it's just Meta and his Maver against the world. Zach Randier killed off by either that's either a Maver shell or actual Control K. Players dropping like flies here. GC finally goes down, but there's a Megalith right behind it on 5 ranks of veterancy. Hank has built an experimental. He's built the 3 Novaxes technically. And those Novaxes being relaunched is actually huge, because they can just be used for defense. Just target them all into the Megalith. And the Megalith pushing into this base needs to start getting some structure damage done, needs to not fire at these mech marines. They're the least efficient thing it can fire at. And now gonna fire at Novaxes. It can't get any more veterancy, but it can continue to rack up value. And the artillery fire, there's now 3 and a 4th on the way. Dukes for Darth Sand firing, concentrating all of this fire. This area has now been wiped off the map by a Maver shell. The Megalith has made it into the base. It's trying to get as much as it can done. And there's an enemy Megalith that's about to take it down. And then there's all of these Percivals, all of these bricks coming in. This is going to be a huge blow to Hank's economy, assumedly. But the question is, can the Maver survive? The Maver under constant fire. The Maver shielding is faltering. He needs more shields. He's going to have to keep building shields. Where is the Maver firing now? We're gonna have to go to split screen. Look at this Maver shielding. The Maver is still firing down here. Needs to start firing onto this artillery base, honestly. Because he's really struggling with shielding. Shielding goes down yet again. The Percivals and all of these units coming out, they're not getting as much damage done as I think he's hoping for. That Maver has so many shields, but it just doesn't seem to be enough. Maybe some assist orders on some of these shields would be enough. But I'm not sure. Triple Duke volleys landing is just really difficult apparently to deal with. And here soon it's going to be quadruple Duke volleys. And it looks like he's starting to fire back on the other artillery grid. But is it enough? Is it too soon? Is it enough or is it too late? Is it... Oh, we have to keep an eye on both of these. The shots coming in. He needs another shield to pop on. But oh no, another volley is about to land. A shield pops on just in time. A fourth Duke finishes up. Oh, this is all that really matters right now. We can go ahead and grab the mini-map and put it on the middle of the screen maybe for you. Yeah, there's not really much going on. The triple Fat Boy over here was somehow dealt with. Yeah, that mini-map is not looking good for meta if he can't keep the Maver alive. And the Maver shields yet again faltering, but he's managing to keep it up. And the shields over here for Darth Sand now starting to have struggles. All of the shielding is down, and another volley should be landing any moment. Is the shield going to pop on in time? Oh no, the Maver goes down! And Crozer, the last player... Control K's. Thank you all for watching. You've been beautiful. My name is Willow. Thank you to the patrons and channel members and people who are super thanking. Thank you so much. Like, seriously, super thanks. It has a really stupid name, but it really helps me out. So if you want to consider doing that, that'd be awesome. But joining the channel membership where you get access to videos earlier, joining the Patreon where you get credited at the end of every video, it really does help me out a lot. Please consider those options. If you enjoy this content, if I give you hours and hours of content and you appreciate it, I'd really appreciate the support there, especially with YouTube getting really weird with the monetization and ad stuff. You all are so beautiful. Thank you all for watching. You can submit replays to me at Discord. There's a link down in the description below. There's a replay submission channel in my server. And yeah, that's about it. You all are beautiful. This is Willow, signing off.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down